Greetings everyone. So we continue our talks discussing Prabhuji's writings, and we left off in our previous talk with this idea that what we know about ourselves or what we know about the world, it's just a suggestion, is a belief. And I hope that we had a good time to think about this topic. And we will continue to read today from Prabhuji's Preface, and we'll try to go deeper. So in the first sentence I will start again. The story of my life is nothing more than a long journey from what I believe myself to be to what I truly am. It is a tale of transcending the personal and the universal, the partial and total, the illusory and the real, the apparent and the true. My life is the flight beyond the temporal and eternal, darkness and light, the human and the divine. This story is not public, but profoundly private and intimate. When we read these things, I feel that every single sentence, often every single word that Prabhuji say, can be a guiding light for us that will not give us answers, for sure not, but will shape our way to seek, will shape our way to search. So, in a previous conversation we was discussing this long journey, that life is a journey from what we believe ourselves to be to what we truly am. So this Prabhuji states something, that there is something that we don't know, there is something that we are, but we're not aware of, that we truly are, which means what is truly, which it means that we cannot be something else, that we never was anything else from that. And then he kind of break it down. It's a tale of transcending the personal and universal. So tale is a good word because tale, if I understand this correctly, or at least in my understanding, it's something that is not a necessarily dry, factual narration. It's more like a song. And this is something very significant because we see that throughout the history, many masters and also many scriptures in Sanatana Dharma tradition, you have many Gitas, Bhagavad Gita, Uddhava Gita, Avadhuta Gita, and Gita is a song. So we will see later, Prabhuji kind of will explain this point to us, that it's a tale. It's something that is full of life. It's something that is full of mystery. It's something that at times can be illogical, but it's a tale. And what's important in a tale, and in this regard, in different occasions we was discussing with Prabhuji different scriptures or different statements from different scriptures, and Prabhuji say that we often make this mistake trying to understand or even try to reject certain scriptures or certain statements from the scriptures on this basis, that we see it as a factual narration, as something dry, as a set of rules, or so for many of us we say, no, this cannot be, this doesn't sound true, this doesn't sound not only true, but this doesn't sound relevant to us, because What do I care if I read the Talmud that my bull attacked somebody and I need to pay him? I don't have a bull, I never had a bull, and I will never have a bull. So what is the point? Or a discussion if I lost something and someone found, or in Bhagavad Gita, what is this point that Arjuna in the middle of the battlefield and need to fight against his beloved relatives? What is that? So people say no, so this conduces violence, or we have a lot of misunderstanding about it. And Prabhuji say no, the Holy Scriptures, the writings of the spiritual masters, are more like writings of the poets. It's a song. It's something that, in a song, in opposing a narration or dictation of certain things, has a totally different effect on us. It has this amazing capacity to, if we analyze it on a factual basis, we might object that this is not true, this is not like that, this is not, it doesn't make sense. I think this statement of doesn't make sense, it's a good one. So it doesn't make sense to us. But that's not the point. The point is not that it will make sense or that we will be able to comprehend it or grasp it intellectually, or it can be useful to us in some very utilitarian way. That's how we often relate to things in life. It can inspire us. Maybe it's not true, maybe it's something that we cannot understand, true in a sense of something tangible that we can hold in our hands, but it can inspire us. It can enrich us. It can touch very deep, all the way into our core. And it's something that we will not be useful often for us, maybe, or will not be useful for us, but it can, over time, it can transform our life, but really transform. So it's a tale, it's a song, and this is how we need to refer to it. It's a poetry. So it's a tale of transcending the personal, which makes sense. Okay, we speak about spiritual life. If we take this fundamental axiomatic statement that the reality is one, there is one life, and right now we believe ourselves to be a part, we believe ourselves to be somebody with limited abilities, limited characteristics, and this affects us. Again, it's not something irrelevant, this is very relevant to our daily existence, to all of us. Regardless if you consider yourself to be a spiritual person or not at all, or agnostic or atheist, whichever you define yourself to be. But these things are relevant and affect your life, our life, on a very daily basis. So we can understand that, okay, if we take this axiomatic truth that there is one reality, there is something much greater than us, that we are that, and we believe ourselves to be something else. So we need to transcend, we need to surpass, to go beyond the personal, okay, which is the personal which we consider to be our limitation today. But then Prabhuji says something very curious. He say the personal and the universal, and it doesn't make sense. And he brings this parities, the partial and total. So okay, I can transcend, it makes sense, again, if I accept this axiomatic fundamental truth, so I understand that I need to transcend partial. But why would I transcend universal? And how can I transcend universal if there is nothing else but universal? So it doesn't make sense. The partial, okay, partial and total. The illusory, okay, I understand. So let's say if I accept that I believe myself to be something and this is not necessarily true, we call this illusion. In Sanatana Dharma or Maya, or in different traditions, there is a different way to approach this thing. But then transcend the real. So how I can transcend the real? Real is real. So what's the point there? The apparent, something that we see, that's something that we think it's like that, and the true. So we're talking about transcending the true. So again, take into account this is poetry. This is a tale. This is not a book of laws. This is not a documentary, I don't know. This is not something tangible. But, so what's the point of that? If we cannot transcend, okay, we can transcend, we can aspire to transcend personal, but we cannot transcend why we would transcend universal? How we can transcend universal? Or how we can transcend real? Or why and how we should and will translate the true? So in my humble understanding, what Prabhuji tried to say here is that our reality today, or we live in this dual experience. And I think for me, this is the significant point is that, so we believe ourselves to be somebody, we live as this limited entity, we're limited by our body, we're also limited by our ideas, we're limited by many different things. So we are part, okay? And as a part, we observe and interact with the world around us. So our life consists of infinite parities. And Prabhuji mentioned few of them here, more fundamental ones, but we have day and night, we have hunger and the satisfaction, we have pain and relief of pain or joy. Our experience is divided, and this is something that we can look into because it is our daily experience. Most of the time, like most of the things on this journey of life, as Prabhuji said, we don't pay attention to it because we constantly moving to achieve our goals, to reach the next point, or to reach the next thing that we believe. And this concept of belief is very profound, as we will see all along the way. We believe that will enrich us, we believe that will resolve our problems, that we believe that this thing will make us happy, that this next thing will be the instrument of our salvation, or will give us joy, will give us satisfaction, will give us so many different things. So we constantly move, so we don't pay attention. But generally, if we think about it, our life is the life within this in between disparities constantly. They are in our life, they are in a way our life. That's how we live. So in my humble understanding, what Prabhuji speak about this, and again it's a tale in a very poetic way, he invites us to consider that there is something beyond all of that. That there is something, it's not a matter of beyond the truth, but there is a state of being, a way of living, which is beyond of these infinite pairs of opposites. Okay? Now, another thing is, and this is part of the beauty, and that's why I said in our first meeting that I really, and I really mean this, I highly recommend you to get these books, and in general to get Prabhuji's books, because if you're interested in that, and I think that, and I really hope that these conversations will be able to inspire you in some way, you will be able to read these sentences time and time and time again and discover new things. Or the same things will touch you in a different way. This is the beauty of these writings. My life, and here Prabhuji kind of, I feel, clarify in a way what we just said. My life is a flight beyond the temporal and eternal, darkness and light. And this is very significant. The human and the divine. And the last sentence in this paragraph is that this story is not public, but profoundly private and intimate. And this particular sentence reflects very much on the way that Prabhuji see a spiritual life, a life in general, and very much reflected in the way he shared his wisdom. So again, my life is a flight, and this is something I believe very much inspired, and Prabhuji write it later. One of the symbols, and you can see it on our mission, the symbol of the mission is the seagull of Jonathan Livingston. The seagull that more than anything in life loved to fly. And this is very much that symbol inspired Prabhuji very much in his life, and very much reflected in his life and in his teachings. So this is the flight beyond the temporal and eternal, darkness and light, the human and the divine. So, as we said before, it makes sense that we should fly beyond darkness, but why would we fly beyond light? It makes sense that we can fly, we want to be, as a great singer once said, we want to live forever. This is our most inert desire. And this desire, we want to live forever. We have myriad of things that come out of it, that we have problem with aging. As Prabhuji said, when someone born, we celebrate. But when someone dies, usually it's a tragedy. And it's very curious because people born and die every single moment. I don't say even single day, every single second. On this planet, people born, or creatures, born and die. So the birth is a celebration, but the death is a calamity. And it's related in some way, as we will see throughout Prabhuji's teachings, that it's related to this fact that what we truly are, and again, this is something that I can reflect on intellectually, but this is not my direct experience in this moment. But as what if we take as an assumption that what we truly are is life, is existence itself, existence cannot die. So then we can understand, and that's the importance of that, is that by examining our reality, we will not be able to reach, we will not be able to grasp what lies beyond the mind. But by examining the substance within the mind, we can eliminate many different things, and we can reach the limits of our understanding, and then from there, hopefully, we'll have a grace to make a jump. So if we take this assumption that what we truly are is this infinite existence, as Sanatana Dharma called as Brahman, and the Brahman is Satchidananda, which is infinite life, infinite wisdom, infinite existence, infinite wisdom, and infinite bliss. This can give us some understanding or some direction of understanding ourselves in relation to our experience. So we want to live forever. We want to jump over the temporal. But Prabhuji say here that we should aspire to fly infinitely and to fly beyond the eternal as well. And we don't like darkness. We try to eliminate darkness in our life. We perceive darkness as something painful, as something negative. But here Prabhuji say that we invited just to entertain this idea that it's a flight beyond darkness, but beyond light as well. And the last thing that Prabhuji wrote in his sentence, it's a flight beyond the human and the divine. And this is something so beautiful, because throughout the history of the religion, of different spiritual paths and different religions, we have this phenomena of an effort of transcending the human. Many of us, by being raised in, especially in, within the tradition of a Judeo-Christian tradition, we have this concept of sin, we have this concept of this basic feeling, which in a way, understandable in our inner experience, that we cannot accept ourselves to be this way. We need to be something else. We don't like to die. We don't want to die. We don't like our limitations. And what we often try to do, we struggle with this truth of our existence. And we try to reject them, we try to suppress them, we try to avoid them, and we put as somewhere far away the goal, the saint, and ultimately the divine. That we don't want to be human, we don't want this human existence, but we want the divine. We want this promise of paradise. We want this promise of infinite light and infinite life. And Prabhuji say, fly beyond both of them. And in the conclusion of that, he say, and remember, and this is something so, I feel so profound and so significant in understanding Prabhuji's approach, that the story, he said, the story of this life, it's not something public, but it's something profoundly, it's Prabhuji right here, I need to read it because it's very exact. This story is not public, but profoundly private and intimate. So, Prabhuji speaks about himself, but I feel that there is a very precious guidance there. Most of our lives, and again, that's my proposition, this is what I am able to see, but we can revise it. You don't need to agree with me. We live for others. We've been raised to live for others. We look at our value as human beings in relation to opinion of others. We try to perform in order to provide value to others. Because we live in this dual reality, and as human beings we live in this world, so if we think about it, it's sometimes kind of can be frightening how much things in our life, from the very moment we wake up till the moment we close our eyes, from the moment that we're born, that we understand very quickly that we need to smile and we need to answer when these big giants talk to us, because we need them, because they provide us security, because we will not survive without food, without warmth. We will not be able to survive without their love, without their protection. So from the very, very early age, literally from cradle to grave, we've been taught to perform, to live, and to act for others. And it's, as Prabhuji say, I mean, it's very important to consider others. We want to consider others as long as we, and even if we look into it from the kind of more ultimate point of view, if we accept that we are one reality, we are part, not part, but we are the same thing, this is not our experience, we would want to love others, we would want to share, we would feel the pain of others, but this is very different between this and to be trained or to be accustomed to perform, to live for others, and to see ourselves, to see our value, to see our experience in relation to others, in relation how other people perceive me, in relation what other people think about me, in relation. So in this sense, this is something very important that Prabhuji teaches, that he invites us to consider, to live our life and do all that we do. It's not necessarily that we need to change what we do. And this is also important for Prabhuji, that it's not that you need to change. You can be where you are, but it's to revise why you do that. And or to see, even not to revise, but to look into how you do it and why you do it. And it's important because after all, this is our life. And we come to this world, at least, again, if you believe or not in reincarnation, but in this form, for a very short time. If we're lucky, if we're very lucky, we have little over 100 years, but most of us, we have maybe 70, maybe less. So, and the reality, this is not a reality, we don't know, we appear in this world, we don't know when is our time. We can go any single moment. So, in a way, life is precious, and this is our life. And it's often very sad, if we look at it, that most of our life we don't really live for ourselves. And Prabhuji invites us that maybe that's about a time that you will look into it and you will revise it, and maybe you will start live for you and from you. And again, it's very important that it doesn't mean that tomorrow I need to wake up completely egoistic and say I don't care about anybody and I don't care about the world, I live my life. No. As Prabhuji share in different occasions, like this freedom or these things, more we know, deeper we go, or more we think about those things and try to live in this way, it requires responsibility, but it will naturally will manifest if we go in the right direction. So here Prabhuji say that this story is not something public. And as Prabhuji said on many occasions, spiritual life and life in general, it's not in the public domain. It's not for public. It's not by public. Religious experience or spiritual experience is one of the most profound things that person can touch in their life. So this is for us. This is our life, and this life given as a gift for us to experience and to live it. Okay? So we'll stop here today and we will continue next time.